Hello. I wanted to take a minute to respond to Grahamandfriends with regards to his video on evolution versus intelligent design. You start your video out, sir, by saying that evolution is just a theory, which technically is true. If you take a look at what a theory is, and I'm talking a scientific theory here, I'm not talking about some kind of war of terminology. What science considers to be a theory, it's defined as a supposition or a system of ideas based on a set of observed facts or evidence. Now I want you to pay attention to that. Observed facts or evidence. Now I want to ask, does intelligent design, which you also claim is a theory, and I'll get to that later, does intelligent design also have a set of observed facts or evidence? Talking about theories, gravity is a good example. Gravity is still considered to be a theory. It's not a question of whether or not gravity exists. It's really just a question of how does it work, what causes it. But it's pretty well agreed upon, I think, even by you and probably most anyone on the planet who knows anything about science, that gravity does exist. So we don't really question if gravity is real or not, yet it's still considered to be a theory. What I'm saying in a roundabout way is that I don't think you truly understand what the term theory means. I think you think it means it's a bunch of guesses thrown together by a few scientists who are cooking up schemes. Theory, in terms of science, it's not just there without any sort of evidence or anything to back it up. It's a theory because there is evidence. Evidence does exist to back it up. And so I'll leave that portion and I will continue on to your intelligent design section. Now you do contradict yourself here, because later in your video you state that you think, quote, intelligent design is the best theory, end quote. So basically, at the beginning of your video, you've stated that evolution is not the proper explanation because it's a theory, and now you're saying that intelligent design is the best theory. So really you've contradicted yourself. And again, I think you're using theory in a very cavalier manner here. You can't have your cake and eat it too, is what I'm trying to say. Now, as far as intelligent design goes, I asked you earlier if you had any observed facts or evidence, which is the basis for a theory, moving past what a theory may or may not be in your belief. Do you have any observed facts or evidence to back up your belief in intelligent design? Now, before we do this, there's a few scientific ground rules that have to be laid down. When I say observable facts, I mean facts that any competent person can observe. It cannot be something that only you can see or hear, or that only a few people can see or hear, and it cannot be something that you take on faith, because faith is an extremely loose term that's not based on anything scientific, and it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Second, your evidence, observed facts or evidence, must be repeatable as part of the scientific process. What I mean by that is, if I submit to you radiocarbon dating as a defense of evolution, say I have something that shows to be older than 7,000 years old, it's a date you give for the date of the Earth. That would be repeatable scientific evidence that any scientist at any lab around the world with the right tools and techniques could recreate. That is acceptable evidence. You must be able to present equal or better evidence and repeat the procedure and allow someone else to get similar results. Those are the scientific ground rules of evidence in this case. And I honestly don't think that there's any way that you could possibly provide that kind of evidence. It may be enough for you, but for any, I think, reasonable person, I don't think it would be enough. Finally, I just want to ask, how do you think that intelligent design is more logical than a scientific theory backed by 150 years of evidence? And when I say evidence, I don't mean evidence like evidence for Bigfoot. I'm talking hard scientific evidence that's considered to be irrefutable by tens of thousands of scientists around the world. Now, either all of these scientists around the world are in cahoots together and it's just a big conspiracy, which I highly doubt, or you're wrong. Bluntly as I can put it, you're wrong. So until you can provide evidence that's equal to or greater than the evidence that evolution holds, I don't think your case has anything to rest on. Now, am I saying without certainty that you're right or you're wrong? No, I'm not saying that. You could be right. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. It's not likely, though. The evidence is way against you on this. And I would ask too, when you say intelligent design, I have to assume that you mean the Judeo-Christian God, God, Jehovah. What if you're wrong about which God it is? What if it's another deity? What if it's the Islamic God? It could be a Greek God. What if you're wrong about who the intelligent designer is? So I'll close with that. I hope to see your reply. I hope you have some information to pass my way. I hope you have something to show me, but I don't think you're going to be able to, at least not in this format, produce any sort of evidence that is believable to anyone who's a reasonable person.